And so now your why seems clear to you when you take on these challenges.
My why is very clear to me.
Okay.
I was placed on this earth to inspire people to go out and climb their own personal Mount Everest to achieve greatness, and that is what I live for now.
Cool. How long have you had that alignment, do you think, in your brain?
It's been growing. It's been growing. Probably, to be honest with you, the most distinct feeling that I had, if anyone's, God, I'm going to sound like a druggie now, but let's get back to drugs, right? Psilocybin on the beach in Kauai, and this was several months ago. And I'm going through a massive rebranding of my business and what it is that I want to build, how many people that I want to inspire. And my intention when I did psilocybin dosing down in Hawaii was to ask myself if I really was ready to do that. And I remember standing on a log there on the beach, watching the sunset. And I don't know if you've done mushrooms before.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Ayahuasca,
you have an
mushrooms,
intense feeling
yeah.
with nature. You have an intense connection to your body. And I just remember opening my arms and saying, I'm open to being big. I'm open to greatness. And when I walked off that beach, that feeling was the strongest I've had yet, and the one that stuck with me the most. So
powerful.
Every day it grows though, but yeah, it is powerful.
Yeah, I mean, the psilocybin can really be a great way to take a good deep look inside yourself. And I always think it connects your heart and your mind, where a lot of times, it's funny, as humans, we can really keep them disconnected for years on end and tell yourself these stories, and people get to the end of their life and they're like, oh, wait a second, I've been doing the wrong thing.
Right.
But if you need to ask yourself a deep question like that, that's a great way to do it through a pretty good dose of psilocybin. I'm guessing you were probably in the 3 gram range.
And removal, it was right about in 3 gram range. Good guess. It was removal of external stimuli, removal of the MP3 player, removal of the social media, removal of all of that external stimuli. And I mean, there's even, I'll butcher this Bible verse, but it's something about how there's thunder and there's lightning and there's storms and there's tornadoes and there's hurricanes and there's all this massive bigness and loudness of nature, but that God is in the silence, right? And it's when you're quiet that you can actually hear his voice speaking to you. And I think that there's something powerful about that, especially when you combine it with something like plant medicine. Just removal of external stimuli, silence, and then just listening. Yeah.
Being in nature, listening, and it's not always the message you want to hear. And so I think a lot of people are not always prepared, and I try to go in once a year, maybe twice a year, and get this message. And a lot of big thinkers do that as well. But sometimes, it's telling you what you don't want to hear. It's telling you you're doing the wrong things. You're not.
Because what I want, I want to sit on my back porch and play my ukulele and write my little fantasy fiction book, right?
You don't.
And no, but that's like, and I still want to do that, right? That makes me happy, but at the same time, I can't shut down that calling to, at the same time, create greatness for people and allow them to be inspired, and to go out and do what it is that they want to do in terms of their own personal Mount Everest. So,
and the question you were asking, I call them the mushroom gods, was really more, am I ready to be big and to be great?
Right.
Because we all have these weird, maybe either doubts in our mind, or maybe you're not sure if I'm still living for the Ben Greenfield ego machine, or am I ready to be big? And you were probably wanting to know that about yourself, right?
Right, exactly.
And it's a big step. I mean, when you see people stop living for themselves and start living for others, it's this scary kind of power. And when you see it, it's very noticeable. Mm-hmm. And if you look at all of the great leaders of great movements, they've all had it, sometimes for good, sometimes for bad, but they've all had this where you're all living through me, or these messages are coming through me.
Right.
And I might be the messenger, and there might be some small ego involved, but a lot of times they are talking about something bigger. And it's undeniably powerful.
And I think that you do go through that period of time where it's not about the other people, right? It is about you. It is about you becoming the strongest version of yourself. Then once you've reached that, you've got that pedestal to be able to inspire others.
Yeah, I'd like to think so. And then maybe it goes back sometimes and back the other way. The ego's a strange thing. I think it's also very necessary. It keeps you alive on those races, but then you also have to know the time where it's time not to have it play a big role. So that's powerful. Talk to me about you and your brand then, because I remember last time we were talking, I mean, you've been writing and things since you were in high school. I mean, you were writing blogs.
I wrote a 400-page fantasy fiction novel by the time I was 12. I mean, I was a World of Warcraft early adopter, and I played the violin for 13 years, and I was president of the chess club. I mean, I was not, an athlete.
Yeah, no, that's the thing about it. Yeah,
geek, yeah.
You were the geek. To watch the rest of this fascinating interview, click on the link below and go to londonrealacademy.com. There you can sign in with your social media, log in and watch the rest of the episode for free, along with all of our episodes on London Real, my webinars, and all of our premium content, all located over at londonrealacademy.com. So click on the link below, you'll be directed there and you can watch the rest of this fascinating interview, and I'll see you there.